17. It's September 22nd. Can the Alpha team see the disclosure? Take a look at the disclosure. Let's get to it. My name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com. Here we are. It's today's recap. It's a Monday recap. You know, most of us came in with multiple positions. We've been carrying multiple positions for multiple weeks and months. If you can't handle, having multiple positions, then you got to day trade. There's all different types of trades out there. You can do whatever makes you feel comfortable. And no audio. Let's see. Hold on. How about now? Test radio. Test radio. Is there audio? Hello. Hello. Yes. Okay. So anyway, my thought process this morning was we're coming in down 20 handles. Okay. Everyone says sell Rosh Hashanah. Crypto's leading us lower. Instead of like having an opinion, I'm like, let me cover some of the SPY premium that I had sold. Thank goodness I had that. And see if I could add to some things versus prior lows to see if we lift. And then this is the SPYs. SPYs didn't even make it to the 8-day, which is right here. And then wound up taking out the prior pivot to hit 667, a new high, just like that. Okay. A lot of things that we had, you could have bought, red and sold green or not, or some things were better than others, obviously. It's just the way it is. Same thing here with what was this? Q's made an all-time high at 600. We'll see if it can stay super strong by holding 595.80. Right? Did it hold 595.80? Huh. Not only did it hold above 595.80, it took out 600 to see 602, our new point of reference for the week. Strong trend. There's an echo. You know why? Because there's probably two of these open. Let me turn this off. Is there an echo now if I'm talking? Hello, can you guys hear? Is there an echo? No echo for me. Better. Okay. So anyway, that's that's the Qs. Didn't even make it to here. Didn't even get to there and test the 8-day. Yeah, you know what? You guys want to hear a funny story? So I want to do one quick little lesson here, just on something, because we talk about like time frame analysis. This actually can be carved out. Something that I did a little different this time that I haven't done in a while myself. So here's Nebius. I don't even know if I'm saying it right. Nebius Group. So a lot of people like Red Dog, you frame a trade a certain way for certain traders, because you have swing traders that like to buy verse areas. Then you have people who like to kind of tick trade and add to things when they show relative strength. And then there's also guys that just day trade through price points, right? That's three different types of things. So here you could look at all three of those things with this stock. Because, hey, I think into this day, I don't know why I did it that day, but I bought some options. I bought some, I think I bought the $100, did I buy the $100 options? Or maybe I bought the $95 options. I don't remember which ones. And then on here, this was the day that finally the stock kind of said, hey, if you're long versus 86.88, you could probably add to, because it got above 92. I think we did something with options. I don't exactly remember. And then the following day, it had a rally up, and you could have trimmed into some strength, if I do remember. And then it came in, and you're still long versus 86 to 88, and you're still in options, but now you sold some options. Then I think right on this pullback is where I bought higher priced options. And then here, by the way, I back in the day, I wouldn't be in this name during this. I'd be waiting and saying, I want to catch a day trade. This is a long time ago, through 150, because if it gets through 150, which is this high, it could go anywhere. And it went as high as 108.58. So when I was first starting out in the first few years, my job was just to find this trade right here, where it's above the 8-day, it's getting better, it held the gap, and it gets through 105, 151. So this would be the only time I trade it, and then I'd probably take a little bit home asking for follow through. I wasn't buying it here versus there. I wasn't adding options. I wasn't rolling up calls based on price movement and staying with it all different ways, and then seeing it to 108.50. So because I've been doing this a lot longer, all of a sudden there's 5 different types of trades within this area versus just this trade, which is what some people, the day trader or momentum traders or scalpers use. And like Conrad, this would be what he's looking for. Just this day, and then he'll leave it. You know what I'm saying? Because he's been trading for only a small amount of time and has to net money every day. So anyway, this wound up being a really fantastic trade. And how many different ways did you dissect this. Let's see. So who in here um, traded NBS one way, just long versus the gap, or in options but no shares, or you took home options and shares and then added to go red to green, or you added above 150. All right, so Rick, you've been doing this for a long time, and it's so good to have you back. Um, who's following along? Am I talking Chinese? Because I don't look Chinese. Do I? Does that? I'm allowed to say that. Um, I'm just saying in general, because I know that sometimes we all get a little bit more frustrated if we're not in every single trade, every single move. So anyway, so that wound up being a great trade. But then some people are like, well, Red Dog, why were you so antsy with Oracle? Because Oracle hasn't been a name that I've been doing this with. So I don't even have it up. So Oracle, I could have been in. Oracle I took home long because I thought the news with Meta would have been, a reason for it to gap up. I was here after hours when it happened. So I sold some up $3, and all of a sudden some management shakeup news came out, and then it didn't hold this prior high, and I got out of it. Why? Because I was looking at my P&L and I was in too many positions. I'm like, you know what, I just don't feel like being bothered. But if you were in it versus 291.70, or you were in it versus slower in it versus the 8-day, it didn't bother you, but it bothered me because I don't know Oracle so well, and I kind of haven't been in tune with it. I've been in tune with this. I've been in tune buying a dip, selling a push up, buying a dip, selling a push up, because I see it. I know what I could. That's why your go-to list is so important. For Oracle, I should have put in my head and said, hey, let me just sit in the shares, not try and be extra cute, and give it to the 8-day, which I didn't do. So maybe you did, and if you did, congratulations. Exactly. You can't kiss all the babies. That's what ball game says. It's good to have you back also. But nice move. And then you have everyone on the VTF, why aren't you still in that one? I'm like, you know what? I wish I was. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But then you get into something like Tesla that I'm very comfortable with because I've been trading the range. I know what's making this stock tick lately, and I'm trying to use my tier system. And I came in pretty long, the 440s, right? I bought the 440s into some of this weakness on whatever that was, Thursday. Stayed with the stock on Friday, added to it because it looked well, and then I trimmed all the way up. Went as high as what, 445, you could just say. Well, I'll be exact. 440. One of my spots was 440. That's where I thought it would go. So I started selling into 440, even though it went to 444, which is kind of like no man's land. And I guess you could say it's right in here. And then once I got it down to 25% of my 440s, I'm like, let me sit. Then the NVIDIA news came out. It started to trade down because the NVIDIA news kind of sucked the air out of the entire room. And then I'm like into this pullback. I'm like, I'm not going 440s. I want to stay with this just in case it continues to work towards, the all-time high here, which usually these guys do when they're on their way. So I bought some 450s, and I just stayed with the stock. Someone's like, well, if it's going to pull back, let's get out of the stock. I'm like, if I get out of the stock fully, I'm not going to stay engaged. So I have to lose a little bit of money to stay engaged there so I could see when things change. And I saw when this thing stopped going up, when it showed relative weakness for the first time, when the offers lined up. And I was like, okay. I'm like, I got to take a little step back here. So now anyway, let's just go like this. Change it. This low is what? This low is 429. This was 432. This now is 429. And we'll see what tomorrow brings. So I've rolled up into the 450s, and I'm still in the shares. A little less because it's a little looser and wider. It was tighter in here, but still acting, it's acting very well. On its way probably to 488. How it gets there, when it gets there, that's what we have to figure out to make money. All right. Well, why are you all out of your Tesla, IMIC? You can always get back into it. Anyway, so that's that. Apple, kind of funny, right? Not really. But, my friends were like, it was a huge 10 billion shares to sell. Okay. So I can't be in that because it might come in on me a little bit from 350 to 4. And P.S. this happens. Well, at least what I did also is I bought some puts into the close because some people were shorting the close on Friday thinking it was up. Nobody knew about it. And we were the only ones that knew about the selling balance. So it's going to short $4. I'm going to make 30 cents to $4 options, which we didn't. And instead, they went out shorted, and then they've been rolling it up all day. and chances are they're going to be, really worried about what they have to do with it into 260 tomorrow. But in here, remember, this is when everyone hated it. This is when Apple was done. I remember this day it finally woke up. The narrative got changed on this day. So, and then it created a whole new trend. So, some people are like, well, why are you still looking at Amazon? I'm like, you're right. I really didn't do much with Amazon today. Um, I went out a little bit further. I went out to the 10th, bought $250 calls, or 240. I'm sorry, and I got stopped out of the shares. But I don't know what's going to happen here. Something has to come out, some kind of narrative switch. Because ever since Oracle came out with the news that, that I guess whoever was going to use whatever it was that day when they said, okay, maybe Amazon's not the only game in town for AWS or for whatever everyone's excited about. I don't know. Um, now this wedge broke to the downside here. So this to me now it's guilty until proven another way. Like if this bar got taken back tomorrow, which we don't know, then it changes again. But as of now, it can't be in the shares itself because I know you lose in options also, but at least you know what you're losing. And plus, you're not just buying and buying and buying like sometimes I've done in Amazon. So, we'll see what happens in the next few days here. But right now, Amazon is not good. But either was Apple into this. Remember when Apple, broke its, ascending channel here, broke the upper flag. So if you were in the stock, you had to get out of it. And I remember we had a great trade here. I thought a bull flag would happen, and then that happened. But then down here, it was nothing, which is kind of what Amazon is now. But then here, it turned into something. So I'm trying to pay to see it. I'm like paying to see it a little bit. You don't have to pay that much to see it. Just pay a little bit to see it. Anyway, kind of like what I did with ASTS. I paid to see it too. Usually I like to play for momentum. Like this was the momentum trade right here, and it went huge. Right here is like a broken trade, but it started to show a little bit better, so I paid to see it. And now it's back up to 49, and we'll see. Is this a new active sequence that's going to hold here and continue? And we made a lot of money in ASTS. It was great. It's on fire after hours. Great. How high is it? It's not really on fire, but little spark. So anyway, that was a nice trade. I sold the rest of it. Anyway, but so in that group now, what's Rock Labs doing? It's hanging. Someone's like, be careful because look how close Rock Labs is to the high, and that's where both the bad news was. But anyway, that looks fine. You could take this out of the way now and put this down here. Now, as long as it holds here, it can work its way back up to this is higher now. This point of reference mattered until that one happened. Now this can just go down here. We'll see. PDD has not been good. Sorry. PDD, I had a great trade there and kind of, that's why I'm not in the stock. I'm just in the options. Sometimes Chinese names get you out. Either is JD. JD and PDD are not as good as Baba and Baidu. But I have 25% left. I made pretty good money in all of them. So, yeah, Bull was good. Same way Bull wasn't good a week ago when they were good. That's called trading. Now you have a topping tail here in Baidu, where if you wanted a reason to get out of the way, a little red dog reversal sell, the sellers took over, and then you have a gap, and you have the 8 day. So I'd be careful there. I haven't been in Bull in a while, and then finally Bull woke up on Friday, and hey, look at that, a nice little trade there. Thank goodness for this. This helped me today. I'm still in some, I'm just smaller. Let's see how many days it goes for this time. Sometimes it goes for a few, sometimes it doesn't. Bull's good to me today too. Happy New Year, Sandra. Thank you. Someone, I screwed this one up, UMAC. How many times was I doing this? Wow, look how sometimes it just takes time. I am long arc. I don't know why, this one I don't even know, but someone pointed out and I looked at the chart. I'm like, what, this chart looks pretty good. Maybe if this group continues, why can't this continue? So I bought it. I remember this candle here, and they kind of held it, right? It showed some commitment to this big, bold candle. So maybe there's more. RDW, what's that doing? It's not doing anything. I gotta look into this stock and see why. Um, JOBY, give you a way to buy a dip. Not the end of the world. A little sloppy, but it's come a long way. So maybe this inside day leads to better action. Now you can be long reverse whatever this low is, which is around 15. Probably shouldn't have got all the way down there, but it did. UMAC was awesome. I should have got friggin'. I'm like a wasted talent sometimes, but I'm gonna move on. I don't know how. How did I not have? I did have options. I did. That's what happened. I sold them on Friday. Why would I sell them on Friday when it just got back up to 1338? I don't know. I make mistakes too. Have we gone over JD? Yeah. JD gave you a little reversal candle here, pulled back in, and it's not as good as the rest of them. So I wouldn't be buying any more unless you have such conviction to buy a dip. We're buying down here. This was finally the day that I woke up, so we shouldn't have even been buying it down there. This was your buy. Trim some, buy some, trim some. Then it held, so that's good. Great day. Trim some, buy some, trim some. Now you have to be a little careful that it shouldn't really go much below this. But we're not gonna have we're not gonna know because China's China and China will open up tomorrow. We'll see what happens. But I did get smaller into this area. Why wouldn't we? Look at the size of that move. So now I have the luxury of buying some back and just JD's on the C list. Here it went from the B list to the B plus list to to the A minus list to the A list and back to the B plus, back to the maybe B-ish. Anyhow, what else? Yeah, UAVS is just a little, can't even really see this name, a little name that someone put on my radar with all of these aerial type stocks going. Looks like it has some room if it wants it. It went the last time these things went, so it's just something. QS, wow. QS, this too, gotta give it to Fib. He had a lot of conviction. I kind of did it wrong. I started buying thinking this would hold, and then I got stopped out, and then I bought options in here and made good money. And now I'm kind of flat-footed there. But it's fine. Rivian, I did better. Rivian, poked its head above this area. Didn't get stopped out buying too much the other day. And we'll see. We'll see if this could work towards 17. I bought options. I like to buy options in the hole and then buy the shares when it starts doing better. So made some money there. SOUN was looking better for some of you guys like this. This definitely moved up the list. It cleared, this area. I'm in SREV. Everyone tried to get me into sound. I just didn't do it. So now maybe, maybe this group continues. Like I remember RR, so that's a good example. So RR had a reversal. Everyone thought I was the smartest man alive, which I was for a day, and then got out, and I never went back to it, and then that happened. So sometimes you have to be in some of it and just to engage it so when it goes, you're ready for it to go, even though it feels like it's going to need a day and a half off. And that's what happened here. Didn't need a day and a half off. It needed a day. And now, blast off. The weekly chart. Nice move. We had this down here. This could have made your entire year, this little robotics name. Instead it made us some money. Oh, I will say Pony was good today. Yeah, good call out. You're right. Pony, we had an awesome week. I did. I rode that pony. And because I got so much smaller into this move, I was able to buy some back and feel good about it. So now we'll see what this trade turns into. It's on the A list. This is definitely on the A list. If it would have moved down to here, B minus. But look how much demand there was. So now there's definitely a little bit more sideways action, and then all of a sudden it could take this out. So Pony is on the A list. Yeah. All right, guys. I have the Jewish holiday tonight. It's 4:36. I'll be in tomorrow morning. Have a great night. Hopefully you did okay. I started in the hole too, made some money, so still stacking on days. For those of you who asked about Chase, he has mono. It's not good. It's been a week. He's missed school. I'm going to go home, try and make him feel a little bit better. He did go to the doctor. They gave him a Z-Pack, so maybe that'll help his nose that he can't breathe through and his throat that's the size of Texas. Your health is very important. He came into this school raring to go. Got a car, passed his road test, was 180 pounds, dunking, and then boom, leg sweep. Out of school for a week, lost like 7 pounds, and We're gonna have to learn from this adversity. So when things are good, he's gonna have to realize, you know what, you better appreciate, your health and appreciate when times are good because they can get taken away from you real fast. And we know that, as we get older. I had back surgery in 2017 after an Ironman and marathons, and you know, and then now my left leg is kind of numb. I'm trying to fix that. But these, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds, they don't know. They feel like they're invincible. And then something happens, and they learn, and they grow, and they become better people. That's our job to help them. Shana Tova. We shall see. Have a great night.